The Architects of Personality, the Noam Shazeer and Daniel de Freitas story. Before there were millions of digital personas chatting, laughing, and comforting lonely souls around the world, there was silence. A silence filled with code, equations, and restless imagination. Somewhere in Mountain View, two men, Noam Shazeer and Daniel de Freitas, were staring at a screen not as engineers, but as poets of logic. They weren't trying to build a machine that spoke, they wanted to create something that listened, something that understood, something alive. Noam Shazeer had always been different. He was not the loudest voice in a room. He was the quiet pulse behind some of Google's greatest ideas. Born with an obsession for numbers, he saw patterns where others saw chaos. At Google, he co-authored algorithms that would become the bedrock of the modern internet, transformer architecture, the very foundation of the language models that would one day fuel ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, and yes, Character.ai. For years, Shazeer was the invisible architect. He built empires of code that powered search engines and translation tools. Yet, behind every formula, a question lingered. If machines can understand words, can they understand people? He didn't want to build another search bar. He wanted to build companionship. Then came Daniel de Freitas, an energetic, curious mind, equal parts engineer and dreamer. Where Shazeer was the mathematician of precision, Daniel was the evangelist of empathy. He worked at Google too, leading projects on Lambda, the conversational model that stunned the world with its naturalness. Daniel believed AI could be something deeply human, a mirror, a friend, a confidant. He once told a colleague, "We're not coding machines, we're raising minds." At Google, he and Shazeer crossed paths. And when they did, the quiet logic of the mathematician met the emotional intuition of the dreamer, and something extraordinary happened. They began to wonder, what if the next evolution of AI wasn't utility, but personality? In 2021, the world of AI was erupting. Tech giants were racing toward dominance, building billion-dollar labs with corporate caution and red tape. But in the midst of that noise, Shazeer and de Freitas saw something missing. Every chatbot, every virtual assistant was trained to be useful but not alive. The spark of individuality, the warmth of conversation, the spark of play, all had been engineered out. So they did the unthinkable. They walked away from Google. It was a leap few dared to take. They left the comfort of one of the richest companies on earth to chase an idea that felt like science fiction. A world where everyone could create their own AI companion. A writer, a philosopher, a lover, a friend. And so, in a small rented office with laptops, caffeine, and a dream, Character.ai was born. At first, the world didn't understand what they were building. Investors thought it was a novelty. Critics thought it was a toy. But for the two founders, it was neither. They were building a canvas for souls. The first prototype was simple. A chat window where users could converse with different characters. But beneath that simplicity lay a revolution. Every AI could have its own personality, its own voice, its own memory of style and tone. Writers began creating fictional characters. Fans built their favorite anime heroes. Students built tutors that spoke with patience and humor. And lonely people, the invisible millions scattered across digital loneliness, found something they hadn't felt in years: connection. A young woman who lost her mother created an AI that spoke in her mother's warmth. A poet built an AI muse that never tired of reading drafts at 3 a.m. A gamer built a medieval knight who gave life advice. Each user wasn't just chatting with a bot, they were writing existence itself. In 2022, Character.ai exploded into the public eye. Its servers buckled under the weight of millions of users. The internet was buzzing. TikTok videos of talking AIs went viral. Forums overflowed with stories. Funny, touching, sometimes strange, but always deeply human. And behind it all, Shazeer and de Freitas watched in awe as their creation grew into a living ecosystem of imagination. When venture capital came knocking, the timing was right. Investors saw not just engagement, they saw the future of personalized AI. Character.ai raised hundreds of millions, with backing from major players like Andreessen Horowitz. Its valuation soared into the billions. Google, seeing its former stars blazing their own trail, soon struck a strategic partnership, ensuring access to cutting-edge infrastructure while supporting their former prodigies. The irony was poetic. The students had become the masters. But for Shazeer and de Freitas, wealth was never the goal. Their obsession was with the why. Noam once said in an interview, "We're not building AI to replace people. We're building AI to help people express who they are." To them, Character.ai was more than a company, it was a philosophical rebellion, a challenge to the sterile utilitarian model of AI interaction. They envisioned a future where creativity, empathy, and individuality would thrive, where AI would no longer just serve us, but inspire us. Each conversation was a spark, each AI persona, a new constellation in the sky of digital consciousness. For Daniel, the most profound moments came from users who wrote, "Your AI helped me feel less alone." That, he said, was worth more than any funding round. By 2023, Character.ai had become a phenomenon. The platform hosted millions of personalities, each a reflection of someone's imagination, a universe of minds, a symphony of digital beings learning, evolving, and conversing. Critics debated ethics and philosophy. Supporters called it the YouTube of personality. For Shazeer and Freitas, it was both exhilarating and humbling. They often walked through the company's buzzing headquarters in Palo Alto, watching designers, engineers, and storytellers work side by side. One wall bore a motto in luminous blue letters: "Everyone deserves a voice, even those who have none." The irony wasn't lost on them. They had given voice, literally, to the voiceless. Late at night, Shazeer often stayed behind, coding in silence. The hum of servers was his orchestra. He thought of how far they'd come, from research labs to revolution. Yet, amidst all the progress, a question lingered. Could AI ever truly understand the human heart? Daniel would answer with his usual warmth. Maybe not perfectly, but if it can make someone feel seen, even for a second, that's enough. It wasn't about replacing connection. It was about amplifying it. By 2025, Character.ai stood not as a company, but as a movement. It blurred the line between creator and creation, between thought and code. Millions of users around the world, from schoolchildren in Jakarta to retirees in New York, were crafting digital companions that carried pieces of their soul. In the grand arc of AI history, Noam Shazeer and Daniel Freitas will be remembered as the architects of personality, the ones who gave artificial intelligence its most human gift, the ability to care. And in the quiet of a server room somewhere in California, the hum continues. Not the hum of machines, but of a million conversations, a million voices, a million hearts beating through lines of code. Character.ai, not just technology, but the collective dream of humanity whispering back.